And comments expressed by Rodney Monker, his guests, callers, and advisors on Freedom March are not necessarily those of the management, ownership, or production unit of ILS, the Verizon Media Group. Freedom March is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without the express written consent of the Verizon Media Group. Freedom March is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2017. All rights are reserved.
The role of a woman in the society is to submit. Birth control are the pills of the devil. Education is so fundamental to the development of a people. Hang murderers. Simple as that. What am I voting for? Voting will change nothing. Tout le monde haïtien, como ye. God save the Queen. A sad day on the island of Andros, as early this morning, a Piper Aztec, well, on its way to Nassau, according to a Negro source on the, well, in the nation's largest island, Andros, that plane had to turn around, something went wrong, and unfortunately, it crashed. Sources in Andros are reporting to us that there were approximately 7 people aboard the Piper Aztec, and we are now hearing that there are no survivors. It's a very, very sad day because all of the people there are reportedly residents of Andros. And we are just off the telephone where a Negro male has started the complaint. He says that the government has failed to regulate small airlines. And he's very, very upset. We decided that we will just listen. Well, broadcasting live from ILTV Studios here in Nassau, Bahamas, welcome to Freedom March. My name is Rodney Monker. I'm a Justice of the Peace here in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And of course, I'm a local member of the local Catholic Church. I'm joined in studio for the first 22 minutes by a young man, Ross De Niro Thompson. Ross, welcome to Freedom March.
Mr. Monker, good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me here. Always a pleasure to be on Freedom March. And yes, it's a very sad day in the North Andros community. Thoughts and prayers go out to those families who are affected by this tragic event.
And then, of course, a matriarch from the Bainstown and Grandstown community. She passed away. We'll tell you about her when we return. But there are new developments taking place in the politics as a weak need. Attorney General Carl Bettel has succumbed to the foreigners. And we are learning that having returned from the United Nations, Carl has been indoctrinated. He now believes that a decent married man can commit rape upon his decent married wife. Well, I've known Carl when he was a youth. And I think I may have to look at Carl because, you remember, I tell you all, I'm receiving reports that Carl is a twin. And this may not be the real Carl Bettel. This one here may be the imposter. I don't know. I'm investigating. So folks, lay back, relax. We have lots of things to talk about. We're going to talk about how the police say murder has reduced, even though there are Negro citizens still being murdered. All kind of things is on my mind. And then, of course, we have a good friend, Gary Eugene. It's his birthday. Gary, happy birthday to you. Listen, we have lots of drinks for you. You better stay tuned. I'll be right back. This is Freedom March My spiritual advisor is in the house, and I'm wearing my gold shirt. It's gold day today. I could use me something goldish.
Freedom March with Rodney Monker will be right back after this. This is Freedom March with Rodney Monker.
Welcome back to Freedom March, broadcasting live on ILTV Studios here in Nassau, Bahamas. My name is Rodney Monker, and today it is a sad day here in the Bahamas, and particularly on the island of Andros, in which there was an early morning plane crash. And I have Rastinero Thompson, who will then read some scriptures for us.
Yes, sir, Mr. Monker. Blessed be the Lord, my rock. Blessed be the Lord, my rock, who trains my hands for battle, my fingers for war. My refuge and my fortress, my stronghold, my deliverer. My shield in whom I trust, who subdues my people under me. O God, I will sing a new song to you. With a 10-string lyre, I will chant your praise. You who give victory to kings and deliver David, your servant, from the evil sword. This ends the scripture reading, Mr. Monker.
Well, Ross, I thank you. And you do read from the Roman Catholic Missal.
This is the Roman Catholic Missal, correct.
Show the people then. Show it to them.
Celebrating the Eucharist.
This is powerful. Well, folks, we told you at the beginning of the show that it is a sad day. I start receiving calls from Andros around 9:30, 10 o'clock this morning. And I was involved in a high-level security class. And at one point, I just had to dash out because I realized that there was something seriously taking place in the Bahamas. Well, we now know that 7 citizens lost their lives this morning. Apparently, the Piper Aztec was on its way to New Providence when something happened, and the pilot then attempted, according to sources, to return to the airport, but unfortunately, he did not make it. So we here at Freedom March, we extend our sympathies to the families and friends of the departed.
Absolutely, Mr.
It's
Monker.
a sad, sad day. Meanwhile, a Negro male out of Andros, who appeared to be extremely upset, called me to complain over the fact that civil aviation, and I don't know who is the minister responsible for it. I just hope it isn't my cousin, Duncio de Aguila. I just hope it isn't him.
Dionisio.
Yes, because the young man has said that there are no proper aviation regulation in Andros. That's what he told me. Say nobody checks them plane to ensure that they are complying. So I promise him that I will repeat his words with a view to hoping that the government would expeditiously investigate, and to the extent that we do discover aviation negligence, something will be done swiftly. Because don't forget now, don't mind how they say they're running government. It's always been slack. I always knew it's slack. Now you understand why from time to time I refuse to go on this plane. Because as a taxi cab driver, from time to time, I may be at Linden Pinling Airport and I can hear conversations. And those conversations, from time to time, greatly displeases me. All right? So let's hope that civil aviation would move expeditiously to ensure that these small charter planes, 1, are duly licensed, 2, have insurance, and 3, that they are inspected. Let's not forget that the leader of, what is Miles Monroe Church name?
Pastor Dave Burrows, the Bahamas Faith Ministry.
Bahamas Faith Ministry. Don't forget that Miles Monroe had a jet and the insurance was not paid. So we know that negligence do exist in this country, But we are kind of people, depending on who commits the negligence, we cover it up. But I yucking the cover off. Okay? So it's a sad day. Well, a couple of years ago, a group of Negro young men sent for me. Normally, people don't send for me. And I was reluctant to go because these men were in their middle 20s and late 20s. But finally, I decided that I should go because it isn't too often that people send for me. And I showed up at the barber shop, and they asked me if I would help in encouraging them politically. And I saw it as a call for my leadership. And everybody was like twice my age. But in the midst of this group of men was a wonderful Negro woman. And she was just as dynamic as they were. And it dawned on me that she also approved my leadership. And I decided I'll hang with these young people, and we grew very close. But today, among that group, is a barber by the name of Gary Eugene. And today, it's Gary's birthday. Gary is a decent and responsible citizen, and so we're going to salute him. Gary, should I sing happy birthday to you? I sang it for Dominique. Perhaps I should sing it for you. Happy birthday, Gary. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. I thank you for helping me during the referendum to lead thousands of women in this country in the referendum. Thank you, Gary, for helping me to save the woman them. And there's a new battle that is emerging, Gary, where once again we may have to step on the road of education. But Gary, have a happy birthday, and listen.
Happy birthday, Gary. Hope that you enjoy. Hope that you live to see many, many more.
You tell Gary happy birthday?
Yes, I did. He's a very good man.
Okay. And I want you to say to him,
Uh-huh.
and if I ever said anything that may have displeased you, please forgive me.
And if I ever said anything that may have displeased you, please forgive me, Gary.
This is powerful. Well, having wished Gary a happy birthday, Gary, there is a special bottle that will be sent to you from the woman there on my instruction. So this is powerful. Well, folks, we know that Carl Bettel, the Attorney General, has been to the United Nations. Remember what I told you about Carl Bettel? We know that Carl Bettel is a highly educated man. We know it. See, I know it. I knew him from he was a youth. I know him. But I'm disappointed in him that this educated man, having met with the United Nations representative on marital rape, told the nation that during that meeting, the woman never mentioned rape to him. And Carl, pretending like he's a strong man, he told the nation that marital rape was not a priority of the government. And I look at him and I said to myself, this man is a weak-kneed Negro man. That's what I said to myself. And then all of a sudden, the international pressure is applied. And he began to vacillate. And I looked at him, because I'm older than him. Watch out for me. I'm older than Carl Bettel, the Attorney General. And I introduced him to the back of the bush. You hear me? So watch out for me. I got him figured out. Carl, be careful on this dangerous trot that you are running. If you believe that the majority of the Bahamian people believe that man can rape their wife in marriage, don't be a political coward. Put it to a referendum. And if you're a man to put it to a referendum, I tell you that I will mobilize thousands of women and they will reject it. Because we believe that a decent Christian married man cannot commit rape upon his wife. What a political coward you are, Carl Bettel. What a coward you are! Talking of all this folly. Now the next thing, y'all will introduce marijuana to the country. That's what y'all gonna do. I just tired of these politicians that I grew up with. I remember them when we were young. I could see one or two of them sitting up in the tamarind tree, just smoking a bunch of dope. Just smoking a bunch of dope. Smoking a bunch of dope. Some of them. Now today, they are in a position of political power. And they want to legalize grass. And when they legalize the grass, who can control that? Bunch of no good rascals. But rape and marriage. I should just go home.
Mr. Monko, are we under some kind of pressure from these international organizations?
Carl Battledozer. They are under pressure. I under no pressure because the UN wouldn't come in my bedroom. If the UN comes in my bedroom, they will get licked down. They ain't coming in my bedroom. What kind of foolishness Carl Bettel in the Senate? Just going to the UN talking nonsense. You should tell the UN this is a democracy. And in a democracy, we are mature citizens. You put it to a vote. Don't sneak it in. You political coward. You can cause me run on, you know. You hear me? I regret I took you in the back of the bush. I should have lost you in the back there.
What y'all doing in the back of the bush, Mr. Monko?
Why should I tell you that?
The public wants to know.
Well, I had him in the back of the bush, training him. Training him. I mean, I waste my time with this man. I knew one day he would be great. But I always thought that he would have testicular fortitude. And my God, play man while that white woman was here. Talk about all that nonsense, then break off, run to the UN and surrender. Carl, you don't like sex, eh? In a marriage, a husband is to ravish his wife. You tell that to the UN. You tell the UN that when a wife is summoned unto her husband, it is supposed to be wonderful sex. He is to be a bedroom bully. It's amazing. Goodness of mercy.
He's supposed to be a what?
A bedroom bully.
Mr. Monko,
That's a what?
that's interesting.
Listen.
What about those who say, you know, they use this term aggravated?
What is aggravated?
What is
Carl has been married long enough to know the politics of the bedroom. Many times a man come home ready to do serious things. And the woman asks him, what is the politics of the bedroom? You beg all night. That's between husband and wife. But Carl and those have joined an international conspiracy. And that's what's going on. Slow by slow. Piece by piece. We demand them. They're trying to take away our authority in the bedroom. But Carl ain't talking to me. He's not talking to me. And I want Carl to know that I'm going to have to protest against him because it is wicked that he, a young, virile male, could support this. Carl, do you believe that you could commit rape in your marriage? Come on. You have to stand up and tell the world that everybody else might be able to rape in their marriage except us. We don't rape our wives. Wives are supposed to submit to their husband in a wholesome, decent relationship. We're not talking about relationships that is fragile. We're not talking about relationship in which there's a court order. Oh boy, you're all full of distraction. Instead of the government find jobs and fight crime, they're talking about rape in marriage. Carl, I always thought you loved sex. I remember in 1988 at the F&M headquarters, we were talking sex talk. And I thought you loved sex. And I thought you believe that the man is to conquer the woman sexually. And I couldn't give two pence who think that what I'm saying is wrong. Because human sexuality is important. And in a marriage, there must be lots of sex. Don't mind the UN. This is not a weapon of mass destruction. I got to put up with all kind of foolishness in this country. I should just find somewhere to migrate to, where the woman and them will allow and stand up with the man them. Man is powerful. Goodness of mercy. Rastanero, listen, I'm sorry for young people like you when you get married, because you may marry a woman who is listening to their propaganda. But I thank God that when I got married many ages ago, the woman believed in Christianity, and she believed that the husband should ravage her. You hear me? Unfortunately, our house was very small. Small house. And sometimes when I jump in the bed, I fell outside in the yard.
Mr. Monker, it's interesting.
Boy, I can put up with all kinds of things. I mean, Carl has me upset. I got to put up with all kind of nonsense. This F&M does not believe in democracy. The UN does not believe in democracy, for if they do, menace, let's go to a referendum, and I'll beat you all. I'll lead the woman them and beat all of you anti-man. But I say, if only I was 20 years younger, and I was still a Mandingo, I would go home and have fun. But the most I could do at 61 is toast to the bedroom. This is Freedom March. I'm laughing at these impotent Negro leaders, which in the no good self, but man raping woman. I can't rape my wife. I can't. Honey, I can't rape you.
Freedom March with Rodney Monker will be right back after this. Expressed by Rodney Monker, his guests, callers, and advisors on Freedom March are not necessarily those of the management, ownership, or production unit of ILS, the Verizon Media Group. Freedom March is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without the express written consent of the Verizon Media Group. Freedom March is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2017. All rights are reserved.
Welcome back to Freedom March, broadcasting live on ILTV Studios here in Nassau, Bahamas. My name is Rodney Monker. Bradley Roll is my spiritual advisor, and he's here with me. Welcome, Bradley.
Thank you, Mr. Monker. Thank you.
You know, I've been thinking in that short break, I'm going to leave the F&M alone. If they want to legalize marijuana, they will have no objection from me. As for me and my wife, we're not going to smoke no marijuana. If they want to legalize marital rape, I'll keep out of their business. I'm going to leave them alone. I've decided I'm not going to let these people upset me. Go right ahead and join the world and do whatever you all want to do. So if the government want marital rape, you may have it. If you want dope in the society, you may have your dope. And I'm going to leave it alone. And I'm serious with that. No objection. Have your rape and do whatever you all want to do. I'll now deal with other issues. But before I do it, there is a matriarch who lives on West Street, Mother Marilyn Wallace. She's 81 and she's passed away. And she was one of the original members of the Redemption Gospel Singers. And so we are extending condolences to her children. And tonight, there will be a memorial service at 7 p.m. at the Apostle of the End Times Church, which is located on West Street and Ferguson Street. Condolences are coming from Pastor Willis Stubbs of the New Apostolic Church, which is located on Ruberdale Lane. Both of those Christian denominations are in the Bainstown constituency. So we salute a wonderful woman, a woman of God, a matriarch of a wonderful family who was passed. May she rest in peace. My spiritual advisor, before you joined me,
Yeah.
I had announced that a plane,
Small plane.
a Piper Aztec, has crashed on the island of Andros. And
It's a very sad day, Mr. Monk.
yes, it is.
Are they saying like about 6 souls may have lost their
6
lives?
or 7,
Wow,
including
wow.
2 children.
Wow.
So it's a very sad day.
And then it raises the ultimate question, Mr. Monka. Job chapter 14, verse number 14. I think Job had asked this question some 1400 years before Jesus Christ had actually come on the scene. He says, if a man dies, shall he live again? And for the family members, having to experience this tragedy, it leaves you empty, no doubt. And of course, the question in mind is, will you see that loved one again? It's a very, very powerful concept coming from the scriptures. If a man dies, shall he live again? And of course, Jesus came on the scene some 1400 years later.
Yes.
And he answered the question, Mr. Monka.
What did Jesus say?
At the tomb of Lazarus, Jesus says that I am the resurrection and I am the life. The man who believes in me, even though he dies, he shall live again, Mr.
Oh,
Monka.
hallelujah,
And
hallelujah.
then he turned to Mary and Martha and says, the man who lives and believes in me shall never die. This is one of the reasons why I'm always joking with Marvin Dane's father at McDonald's Breakfast Club. And I said to him, I said, listen, I'm not going to die. And he looks at me in a very puzzling way. I say, yes, because Jesus says, the man who lives and believes in me shall never die. It has a very spiritual connotation in it. But sadly enough, we must give our condolences to those members in Andros who have lost their loved ones on a very tragic plane crash. It is a sad day. You did mention some protocols about aviation and inspection and all that. And, it's serious that we're not paying attention to our general aviation department and having these small planes in particular inspected on a regular basis, making sure that pilots do keep up to date with the licenses and to make sure that these airplanes are fit. Though it was a short journey, it should be fit to make that journey from Andros no problems. I think, though, that the weather may have been a factor. I don't want to preempt the crash, but I'm thinking, the weather may have been a factor. But it's a very sad day, Mr. Monka.
It's a very sad day.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Let me do some quick shout out. I want to do a shout out to Justin Ford. Happy birthday, and it's coming from your mom, Sandra Cox Ford, your grandparents, Sidney Cox, my uncle in Freeport, Grand Bahama, your mom, Sonia Hamilton, and other aunties and uncles and cousins. And guess what? There's another birthday coming up for Stacy. But Stacy, I can wish you a happy birthday, but I'm going to hold back until the real day. So I wanted to just say that to Justin Ford. And I'm certain that I had another name, but in the course of the show, I think I will find it. Well, folks, it would appear today that we now have the newspaper, and so we are able to look more objectively on the crime reports from the Royal Bahamas Police Force. It is interesting to note that the Nassau Guardian say that crime is down by 14%. And then, of course, the Bahama Journal say it is 13%. So I think I look at the Bahama Journal because I'm aware that many of you people in the family islands, you're not getting good news. And these days, the only news that I can trust these days comes from the Bahama Journal. They're the only news I can trust these days because some of these people, they're not safe. I think Wendell Jones, you remember I used to curse him out? Well, after I finished cursing him out, he appears to repent. I always thought he was anti-PLP in his sentiments. But these days, he seems to be extremely balanced. He gives the F&M proper coverage, and he gives the PLP proper coverage. I'm not sure. I can say it for the other newspapers. So let's look at what Wendell has to say. It says crime down 13%. And I'll read it to you. And it goes like this. On the heels of the advisory by the U.S. warning its citizen of crime in the Bahamas, data compiled by the Royal Bahamas Police Force indicates that serious crime has decreased by 13%. This was revealed by Commissioner of Police Anthony Ferguson yesterday at the Royal Bahamas Police Force Annual Crime Statistic Briefing. Preliminary figures for 2017 show that crime across the entire Bahamas decreased by some 13% compared to 2016. Violent crime decreased by 20% and property crime are down 11%. Crimes in Nassau and Grand Bahama decreased by 14% and 26% respectively. With the effects of murder, overall incidents increased by 10% with 122 incidents compared to 111 incidents in 2016, Mr. Ferguson said. Despite surpassing the murder count for 2016 last year, Commissioner Ferguson pointed to a notable decline in the latter quarter of 2017 as an indication that things may be turning around. This decrease was meaningful as murders previously averaged about 12 per month. For the first time in a long time, the Bahamian people can breathe a sigh of relief as incidents of this most heinous crime have begun to subside. We know that this was not a coincidence, but the result of analyzing trends, refocusing police operations, and getting valuable intelligence from members of the public. The operation of the anti-gang and firearm unit and the rapid response unit have greatly impacted curbing the murder count, Mr. Ferguson said. Commissioner Ferguson, however, still remain tight-lipped on the specifics on the force's crime strategy for 2018, saying that he does not want to preempt the National Security Minister. However, he did reveal that an influx of new technology and equipment will play a major role in the fight against crime in this new year. Our policing priorities for 2018 will be geared towards professionalization of the service, effective management, optimizing the use of technology, interacting with at-risk youth, improving road safety, and continued prevention and reduction of crime. You can expect to see a high number of officers moving about on the streets. This initiative is twofold, as it will provide a sense of safety in our communities, and that the criminal element can know that they will not be able to operate with impunity, Mr. Ferguson said. Responding directly to that advisory issued by the U.S. concerning the safety of Arawak Key, Commissioner Ferguson said his numbers indicate that the tourist hit spot is safe, contrary to the information that was put out last week. While crime is down overall, not all good news, as police also revealed a slight uptick in Family Island crime by some 6%. Preliminary figures indicate that Family Island murders were up 75% when you take into consideration the 4 that took place in 2016 compared to 7 in 2017. Also, rape was up 83% with 6 incidents in 2016 compared to 11 in 2017. Robbery went up 33% and burglary 65%. Despite the daunting figures, the commissioner says the force will use the same aggressive crime-fighting approach in the Family Islands that will be used in the capital. This, as Family Island residents have raised concerns with several murders taking place early this new year and 2 persons being found dead in Abaco over the weekend. So, it would appear that the country is still challenged. I told you last week about a Negro male that is called Slime. And I told you how a woman wrote an article in the Nassau Guardian. And in the article, as I read it, my mind was taken back to a story of a Negro male who told me how many nights he wake up with a panic attack. Not because he and Slime were tight friends, you know, but he knew him. And he knew that Slime was cool, operating a kind of painting business. He was an artist. And he says he goes to bed and he wakes up in a panic, cannot believe that Slime has been murdered. So we know that the effect of crime is having an impact on the national psyche. We know it. And I hear them talk about community policing. The only place I see police up and down the street is on Bay Street. I don't see police well, in fact, the last time the police walk about in Grandstown, I was then the co-chairman of Bainstown and Grandstown Urban Renewal. And then the PLP allowed the police to get rid of me, not recognizing I was their friend. And I used, because I was working with 2, 3, a number of patriotic, loving, Bahamian police officers. And when they come up with a strategy, all night we walk up and down. I used to feel great. I'm walking with the police late in the night as we maintain law and order. But I don't see it. So I want a crime-fighting strategy. When I look out towards Market Street, I can see hundreds of police up and down. That's when the community is being impacted. But when they talk about community police, they talk about Bay Street. They're talking about ruling classes area. You want to have impact on crime? Well, let's scatter the police through Bainstown. Let's scatter them in Camp Road. Let's bring them south of Market Street. Let's have them assemble throughout Pinewood Garden. And every time something is about to happen, we will think twice because we know the police is there. I don't see the crime-fighting strategy. I don't see it. Because murders are still taking place. And every time a citizen is murdered, it does not matter what the police says. It doesn't matter how somebody say it's safe. If it was safe, he would not have been gunned down. He would not have been murdered. My spiritual advisor.
Well, Mr. Moncur, you raise a very valid point, right? The thing is, though, as it relates to crime fighting tactics by the police force, you're talking about walkabouts. Yes, walkabouts can be very effective. But what I've noticed, though, is that in a lot of these over-the-hill areas, you do see a lot of police patrol.
Well, have you seen...
vehicles.
Now, when you say police patrol, what do you mean?
Mobile patrol.
And what time of the night do you see them?
Night and day.
What time?
Night and day. Oh, well, there are times when they go out on the weekend.
Well, let's go to your neighborhood.
You can see...
let's go to your neighborhood.
But I don't live in a troubled neighborhood.
Let's go to your neighborhood.
Okay,
what you mean you don't live in a troubled neighborhood?
Very...
Every night, your neighbors are unlawfully dropping rubbish along the road.
Yeah, the dumping.
You think it's people from Baintown who come down there?
I do believe it's people from outside of Marshall Road, outside of Southern Shores that does that. I don't think the Southern Shores neighbors does that.
You just don't know your neighbors.
But I think there's outside sources. But the thing is...
But even if there are outside sources and there was constant police up and down, you mean to tell me the police has been unable to detect one citizen dumping?
I understand it, but something, Mr. Moncur, the reality about police patrol is this. The police can't be everywhere all at once. That is just the sad part about that.
So the question is, where can you find the police?
Well, the police does have the island and the zone, and they have police officers who do patrol the areas that they are assigned to patrol. I've seen it happen. You see in certain over-the-hill areas that there's constantly, you see police cars patrolling, Market Street,
Would you like
Wolf
to test
Road,
your theory?
Centerville.
Would you like to test your theory?
How?
Identify a community and you and I shall go there and hang out tonight.
Okay. Let's do that.
Come on, identify one.
Okay, let's identify Centerville.
Centerville? What part?
From Christie Park area.
There's a Christie Park in Centerville?
Sorry, not Christie Park, sorry.
My spiritual advisor, make up your mind.
Centerville Park. What's the park cross road from Battery and Tire Specialist?
I don't want to go to that park.
Yeah, let's look at that area.
No.
That area.
A whole man was killed near there. Let's find some area where nobody get killed.
Well, that's the whole point, Mr. Moncur. That's the area we want to go. All right? So that we can look and see the kind of patrols that the police force is doing.
So you want to go there?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
And I can guarantee you would see at least...
How about 11:30 tonight?
Why you want to go so late that night?
Well, that's the time we need the police. Huh?
I don't know if I'll be at 11:30 in the night.
Okay. What time you want to go?
Oh, we can go 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock.
Tonight?
Yeah.
On Christie Park?
Well, not... What's the name of the park
I don't
across
know
the road from Battery and Tire Special? It must be Centerville Park. Yes, it is Centerville Park.
It is?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
And is the park clean?
Yeah, it's nice.
Is that park that leads to a school that Jeff Lloyd didn't clean the footpath?
No. That,
Come on, my spiritual advisor.
That park is directly across from Battery and Tire Specialist. I think that's Arundel Street.
Arundel Street.
And either East Avenue, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. If you look at an area, you will see that there is patrol. Let me tell you something, Mr. Monica.
Go ahead, my spiritual advisor.
You have to remember that crime, especially murder, it goes and it starts in the mind of the individual. Now, how do you be proactive to prevent that?
Does armed robbery start in the mind of an individual?
Yes, of course it does. People
Does
make up their mind.
jumping the red light?
Yes, people make up their
What
mind so
about
they're going to
throwing
break the law.
garbage on the road?
Yes.
So what are you trying to tell me?
What I'm trying to say is, how do you take a proactive approach in reducing that or even stopping it? You have to get to the individual. And this is what we have lost over the years.
My spiritual
We have a
advisor.
lot of young men who have not been trained
Who
properly
should get to these
their
young people?
homes. And they end up in the streets and become a menace to
And
society.
what happened
That
to
is
the
the
law?
problem.
And therefore,
The law takes its course.
and
then.
where is the law?
The law is
performed?
there. The law is there.
Yeah.
The police has a very hard job in policing these communities, man. It's unless the police force decides to increase their manpower.
So you think they need
That could
you think
be-
manpower?
That could be something that the police force can look at. They could also look at increasing their hardware,
What is hardware?
like police cars and so on and so forth, ammunition, that they would need to help fight crime in the country. I think.
Goodness me. You're saying they need more gun?
more guns, yes, I mean, the boys on the streets got plenty of guns.
I have a problem, because the last agency we allowed to bring in guns.
Well, we don't
the
want to
con-
go down
You
that
stop
road.
it.
Well, Mr.
You
Muhammad,
stop it.
we're
The
trying to look
auditor-
at.
No, no,
we're
no,
trying
no,
to
no,
take
no,
a
no.
proactive approach.
My spiritual
to
advisor-
helping the police force to.
My spiritual advisor, I have scientific evidence coming from the Auditor General of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, where guns and bullets were bought in by the Defense Force, and the Auditor General say there can be no accounting.
Okay.
You hear me?
So where
And the F&M is trying to contradict him.
where did that shipment go?
I don't know. And you know, without you revealing it. I don't want you to reveal it because I don't know who's be watching us. You know that I speak true. All right, then. You know that I speak true.
And he does seem to be a very honest and upright person.
Who?
In speaking.
Who?
Yeah.
Who?
The Auditor General.
Of course! Why the heck you think he's there?
Yeah, he
Huh?
seems very honest.
Right.
And upright.
Right. So
So
now,
it begs the question,
yeah,
where did the shipment go?
where did the shipment go?
Well, I'm not getting
And
to
you see
that.
what has happened?
Be careful.
Marvin Dames continue to say that the shipment returned. But Marvin ain't tell me he count the bullets yet.
Yeah. But Mr. Monica, all of us, the whole society here in the Bahamas is gonna have to play a vital role in helping the society to deal with the crime issue. The church, of course, plays a very vital role. We got to grab our men. Mr. Monica, I believe if you rescue the parents, you'll save the children.
Yeah,
All right?
but the
So-
crime is taking place
Yes,
now.
yes. So
I
then the
want-
law has to deal with the crime.
Well, that's the point.
Yeah. So
Right.
we must help the law with vital information.
And now we see that Marvin Dames is on the front page of his sister newspaper
Yeah.
attacking
The Guardian.
the leader of the opposition. When we return, we shall examine if Marvin is being objective. Because it appears that he cannot take criticism from the leader of the opposition in this country. Come, Marvin, stop putting up a defense. Listen to what the leaders say. And then act accordingly and save the country. What you think, my spiritual advisor?
agree.
We're going to look at what Marvin
Yeah,
Dames
let's
had to
look
say?
at it. Yeah, let's look at it.
You think Marvin saved?
Save from what?
Saved from...
Listen, Marvin Dames is a very, very good national security minister.
Really?
Yeah, he is very good.
Well,
is
I don't believe
this
it
is the perfect man for
until
the job.
he
Well, let
catch
me not
the
say
people.
perfect. This is the right man for the job.
Until he catch... Well, how come he catch the people that move
This
on
is
me?
the right man for the job. Remember when Perry Chris used to say he's the right man for the job? I believe Marvin Dames is the right man to be national security minister.
Well,
In my opinion.
we'll see when we return. Marvin Dames, he says Dames bashes Davis, outlandish crime comments. But meanwhile, They ain't arrest the man who fired upon me yet. Marvin, we'll deal with you when we come back. This is Freedom March. I'll be right back.
Freedom March with Rodney Monker will be right back after this. Freedom March with Rodney Monker.
Welcome back to Freedom March, broadcasting live on ILTV Studios here in Nassau, Bahamas. My name is Rodney Monker. Bradley Roll is my spiritual advisor. It is a sad day in the Bahamas because early this morning, a Piper Aztec plane on its way to New Providence ran into some emergency and attempted to return to Andres, according to Negro sources. And of course, it was very, very unfortunate. The plane crashed. And we are told that there are no survivors. A sad day in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and particularly on the island of Andros. When we took the adjournment, we were talking about the crime. Mm-hmm. And then you would recall that the leader of the opposition in this country, the Honorable Philip Brave Davis, had issued a statement at the beginning of the week extremely critical of Prime Minister Hubert A. Minnis and the Free National Movement. Well, today, on the front page of the Nassau Guardian, the National Security Minister, Marvin Dames' response. My spiritual advisor, Bradley Roll, who's extremely close to the F&M government, he's going to have to read
I'm close to the F&M
Marvin's
government.
statement.
Right, you're not an F&M.
I'm an F&M, but I'm not close to the government.
What do you mean?
I'm only close to Papa.
Interesting. Yes, it says Dames bashes Davis. Outlandish crime comments. Minister of National Security, Marvin Dames, yesterday castigated Progressive Liberal Party PLP leader Philip Brave Davis for claiming that crime was on the increase without factual support. It saddens me when people aspire for leadership and they make comments without any factual content. Dames told reporters outside of cabinet. Everyone see that when you compare the last quarter of last year with what you have been experiencing all of these months before, especially at the beginning of last year, there's no comparison. We had one homicide in November of 2017. He said it's unprecedented. And there was a domestic related matter, and it was a domestic related matter. And I believe that there were about, where you go, page 88, Mr. Monker. There were about 500 homicides. There were 5 homicides in December. When you compare by quarters, for example, the numbers were reduced significantly, and people on the streets were talking about it. At a press conference at the PLP headquarters Monday, Davis suggested there could be some correlation between the disbandment of the National Intelligence Agency and an increase in certain categories of crime. He called the Minnis administration hypocritical and disappointing. Davis, however, made these comments before the new crime numbers were released. Yesterday, at a press briefing at the Paul Farquharson Conference Center at police headquarters, Commissioner of Police Anthony Ferguson revealed that although murders increased by 10% in 2017, overall...
Stop! What did the Commissioner reveal? Why are you laughing? Murder is a serious thing, my spiritual advisor.
The Commissioner of Police, Anthony Ferguson, revealed that although murders increased by 10% in 2017, overall crime decreased in the Bahamas. Overall,
my spiritual advisor, stop.
In the Bahamas by 40% when compared to 2016.
I want you to stop it. Listen
now
to
you
me.
understand Marvin's argument, right?
I want you to listen to me. I older than Marvin.
Yes.
Okay? I want you to listen to me.
All right.
Murder is what? It is the most serious criminal offense in the criminal law. It is the most serious criminal offense in the criminal calendar. And I rely on the judgment of former Chief Justice, the late Gonsalves Sabola, in his judgment for the return and arrest of John Moscow. That is the argument. I don't give a penny.
That's an old story, though.
The law is based on precedent. You heard me?
Yeah, okay.
You can't say it's an old story. I'm only giving you a judgment. Oh, judgment.
That was fled to Brutus Beast.
Oh, judgment. Thou was fled to Brutus Beast. And what you have, Marvin has lost all sense
Well,
of
listen,
reason.
his argument
His
is
argument
that he
is
can't
not a
understand
good argument
why
because I want the murders to stop. I don't want him to tell me about this domestic murder. What you talking about domestic murder? You all say you're stopping rape and marriage, right? I want domestic violence to stop. Don't give me no excuse. I don't care why the fella killed the fella.
And see, that has become another concern.
I don't care why. I don't care if he kill him because that's his pa, or his ma, or his sister, or his children. I don't give two penny. It is murder. And I want Marvin to stop all murders. Go ahead.
It's going to be difficult to do that.
How you mean it's going to be difficult? Marvin can
Because
do it.
Nobody knows the thoughts of the man.
Listen to me.
Except the spirit of the man.
The
is in
murders
him.
are taking
When a man
place in the
decide-
country because we know there are no punishment.
That's I don't know. I don't know if
tell
I
me
agree
that,
with you on
man.
that one. Anyhow, overall crime decreased in the Bahamas by 14% when compared to 2016. Dame said the opposition should not play politics with this issue. While we are not happy and not pleased that we have had 3 homicides on the island of Grand Bahama this year, if the former Deputy Prime Minister wants to play politics, we had 33 homicides for the first 2 months of 2017, Dames noted.
Well, stop. Dames. That's why we voted the PLP out. Don't give me that kind of talk. Murder is unacceptable if it is PLP rule or F&M rule. Under your administration, I want no murder. Go ahead.
But we didn't intend to play politics. He talked about the National Intelligence Agency. He has no factual information on that. We did an assessment.
Keep reading.
We did an assessment. We spoke to the heads of law enforcement throughout this country. There was no connection. No one understood what this unit was all about. And there were no laws governing how it ought to be operated. You can't run a government that way. Come on, let's get serious. The government disbanded NIA in June of last year. The NIA had been in operation for 5 years under the Christie administration without legislation to govern it. That's important.
What did Marvin say about the NIA?
The NIA had been in operation for 5 years under the Christie administration without legislation to govern it. Now, how was it operating? I don't know. The former administration...
That's what Marvin says?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
The former administration repeatedly promised to bring legislation but failed to do so. This left questions about the scope of the program and its specific functions in the fight against crime. The Minister administration introduced an NIA bill in 2017 in September. It proposes to establish an agency of the government that will be responsible for gathering intelligence that impacts the security of the Bahamas. We should not be making statements as leaders when we cannot factually support those statements, Dame said yesterday. I stand here before you to tell you I can factually support that when we compare the second half of 2017 with the first half, there's no comparison. And what we are doing now in conjunction with the Royal Bahamas Police Force, the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, the Department of Correctional Services, and Customs and Immigration will reap more dividends. We should not be playing politics with crime.
I have
Speak
a caller.
the facts.
I have a caller.
That's what they are.
Hello, welcome to Freedom March.
Hi, good afternoon, Senator. How you doing, sir?
I'm fine.
Excellent. Good afternoon, Spiritual Advisor. How
Hey,
you doing?
Anton, what's happening? Everything okay?
Right here, bro.
Good, good.
And good afternoon to the nation. As it relates to the topic you're discussing right now, crime, right? I want to make 2, maybe 3 very quick points. I want to say that what disappoints me is this, right? I understand that the United States of America is the most powerful nation on the planet, or considered to be the most powerful nation on the planet, right? I understand that. But when I look at their relationship with us, with our Bahamian government, when I look at the fact that we work so closely together with drug interdiction, with intelligence gathering, with sharing of information, with treaties, et cetera, right? It leaves me hard pressed when I look at this from both sides of the spectrum. The first side being there's the Minister of National Security, right, who would have taken a very hardline approach with the leader of the opposition, the Honorable Philip Brave Davis, right, as it relates to his statements on crime at his press
Let me
briefing,
stop you
right?
for a second.
But
May I stop you for a second?
Okay, go ahead.
Your first point, I didn't figure out where you were heading with that.
Right.
Would you come back to the first point?
now.
Yeah, he's trying to get to it now.
I'm going to pull it for you right now.
Because you were critical of the United States.
No. Hear me out.
But I want you to come quickly because I want to figure out where you're coming from with the United States and its relation. Hold on a second.
I'm going to do it quickly
and its
right now.
relationship with the Bahamas. Go ahead.
Right. But I needed to tie in the communication between the National Security Minister, Honorable Marvin Deans, and his reply to the leader of the opposition, Honorable Philip Brave Davis, right? And that made front page. But here's the thing. When you look at the fact that he would have stated to the leader of the opposition that you shouldn't make statements unless you have facts, right? And the statements that you were quoting don't add up. That should have been the kind of reply that should have gone out to whoever made that or gave that warning to American citizens in the American embassy.
Okay.
Because it's the same principle. It's the same.
But in fairness, that is what the government
point.
position has been. The government has said.
No.
Oh, yeah.
You haven't heard anyone from the government side speaking directly to the United States Embassy or persons who would have given the advisory stating to them that you did not make that advisory on facts. You need to reconsider that because what you were doing is wrong. You were damaging our country's tourism industry, and here are the reasons why. That is the kind of response I expect to hear from our government. So we recognize that the United States of America is our partner, and we've been working very closely.
Is it really? Okay? Hold on a second. Are they really our partner?
Of course they are.
Yeah,
they are our partner in what?
They are our partner in providing us with support and background information, providing us with equipment.
Okay. Well, there's a point you are overlooking, and that point is there is a new administration.
I understand that.
You are looking at existing agreements,
right?
Which is not applicable for the purposes of what has taken place. The President of the United States has asked the Bahamas to support it at the UN.
If I may make a final point, Senator.
And the U.S. told the Bahamas, if you do not support us, you cannot count on us.
Well, there could be some backlash from that. That's possible.
That's it.
But I want to make the final point.
Make your final point.
And the final point I want to make is this, right? Oh crap! You sorry, throw me off just now. Anyway, when you look at what has happened, as it relates to crime in our country, right? Unless the Bahamian people get sick and tired, unless the mothers and the fathers, unless the aunts and the uncles, unless the grandparents in the womb at the foundation level who see what is happening get fed up, sick and tired, and decide to address their loved ones, their children, their grandchildren, their nieces, their nephews, or turn them over to the police.
That's the point.
Only so much.
I thank you for your comments.
And so we should not play politics with crime.
That's the point. That's the point.
Let's work together and resolve our crime issues.
I agree with that, Anton. Yeah, man, Anton. I agree with that. That was my point earlier.
Listen to me.
You see, we'll always have this ongoing issue with crime.
The crime
Let's start in the home.
Listen,
Let's start in
it's
the home
outside the home.
Yes.
So
but now we have to get back to the house now.
Well, go to the house.
But why get back to the house and make sure that these young men who are coming up now
in the
that they're trained properly so that when they hit the streets, they do not become a menace to society, Mr. Munker.
My brother.
Let's stop using popping necks as a solution to deal with this crime issue. Let's take it to the root, Mr. Munker, and let's prevent it from there.
Okay.
Let's deal with it like that.
Right. Okay. So that's how you want to do it.
Yes, let's go back to the house.
Now, what do
that's
we
the problem.
With the fellow?
In the meantime, the fellow on the streets, let the law deal with him.
Well, that is what the law is not dealing with. That is not what the law is dealing with.
Yeah,
I just
but-
give you the story
but let's stop
of a
this-
Negro man named Slime who is in the same Junkanoo group as the Prime Minister. And he was gunned down like a dog.
Okay, so what
Right?
What that has to do with anything, though?
It has to do with the fact that there is no punishment. That's what it has to do with. Don't tell me it's too late. The people who bombed my car, you think go to talk to their mom?
Yeah.
Huh?
Well,
You
yeah.
deal with the criminal
Yeah.
where you find him.
Yeah, because of the mindset.
But there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with talking to his ma if you want to talk to his ma. I don't want to talk to his ma. Hello, welcome to Freedom March.
Good afternoon, Mr. Manco.
Sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Welcome.
Good afternoon to spiritual advisor.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm great. You know what I'm tired of hearing? When
What's that?
people say that you cannot stop someone from murdering another person, but yet the government is touting their success in the decrease in other crimes, excluding murder. So if you could stop the other crimes, how could you say that you can't stop someone from murdering?
I agree with you, my brother.
So how do you stop a person?
Because if murder is the ultimate crime in the country and we're not hanging anybody, how can
okay.
you decrease that number?
And that is what I'm concerned
the
about.
penalty.
I'm concerned. Every time I hear somebody is killed. Go ahead.
So my thing is we need to stop talking about how you cannot stop someone from committing murder, and on the other hand, saying we cause other crimes to decrease.
Yeah, we stop him from raping. We stop him from armed robbery. We
Right.
stop him from house breaking.
But you can't stop them from murder.
Yeah. They're pussyfooting.
I still don't understand that.
My brother, you're on the right track. I thank you for
I think
your
so.
wisdom.
The telephone numbers to call Mrs. Monke here on Freedom March. 3 main lines: 323-7775. Toll free number 242-300-0045. And of course, there's a text line: 242-357-SHOW. That's 242-357-SHOW. 357-7469. You have 3 numbers, Mr. Monk. People
Yes.
can call you if they want to reach you and discuss this crime issue. But what direction is the country headed now as relates to crime? We have a new commissioner. No doubt he will roll out the
Listen,
new
the
crime
country
fighting.
is on its way to hell. We had a national debate.
So how do we stop the country from going to hell, Mr. Monk?
We're going to have to quickly vote the
Because
FNM out.
all is not lost.
We see that all of a sudden,
How could you
in
quickly vote a government that's
2018, my
just been in
spiritual
about,
advisor,
8 months?
Listen.
What is all about?
do you notice that the government is pursuing a propaganda line for the legalization of marijuana?
You keep talking about legalization. I don't know if that was the discussion.
My spiritual advisor, what was the
Speak truth about the
discussion? What was the discussion?
The discussion is to decriminalize marijuana.
What does that mean?
Lessen the penalty.
Goodness of mercy.
That's what decriminalization means.
the government.
Decriminalization and legalization are 2 different things, Mr. Monka.
My brother,
Right? Am I right? Teach
I
me.
said you don't want
You're the
line.
justice of the peace here.
Then listen to me.
Okay. Okay,
Right?
go ahead.
I have lived in the country for 61 years. I've seen the impact of a gateway drug called marijuana. I see many people in our political leadership when I was a youth. They smoked some of the most potent drugs. I'm 61. I'm well familiar
What
with this
effects?
country.
What effects did you see?
It led from one drugs. It led to LSD. Then there was something called purple haze and quaaludes. They began to snort and sniff. I see some of the most sophisticated people got fired from the banks because they got hooked on drugs. Right?
So you're saying that marijuana is addictive?
I am saying that watch what is taking place. This country, which is supposed to be a Holy Ghost country, is being taken over by the devil. All right?
And if you...
We see, you see, the advantage that I have over you is when I hear them speaking, I'm able to say, that's the dope smoker who wouldn't stop.
Okay.
He wouldn't stop.
Okay.
Right? And so we now see this new trend because we are watching the world. We see it in marriage. We now see it in this. Let's take the call. Hello, welcome to Freedom March. Oh boy, I'm just tired of the Bahamas. Hello,
Hello,
how are you?
I'm pretty good. Good afternoon, Mr. Manka.
Good afternoon, my love. What is on your mind?
Good afternoon, spiritual advisor.
Yes, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good.
I have one point. During the time when the PLP was in power, right? They were not. They were not
Go ahead, don't.
following the rule of hanging people for crime.
Okay.
So during the F&M time, right?
Yes.
When they political, advices, right? So
Yes.
they say like, when they come to power, it's going to hang. Okay?
Yes, Minister
So
said so.
now, all we are looking for is for hanging. So crime is not good. So, for the issue, they must be hanged. Thank you.
I thank you, my dear. I thank you. You see, I could talk to Marvin, Marvin and I share a powerful secret. So you got to watch out for me. All right?
You and Marvin share a powerful secret.
Of course we do.
Okay.
Is something wrong with that?
No. So
Right.
that gives you an edge to...
Of course.
Okay.
Because when I speak, I speak.
So use it for good, though.
But everything I do is for good.
Okay. All right.
Even if I reveal the secret.
Yeah, but we don't want to get
Right?
into that. We're looking at crime and trying
I'm
to...
looking at crime.
See if
Me
you
and
can-
him have a common secret. We solve.
Well,
me and
leave
him-
it like that.
No. Me and him solve a crime.
Okay.
Huh? Me and him solve a crime.
Right.
So I can speak to him.
So Marvin can solve crimes, right?
Well, I said me and him. I was the lead investigator. All right? Because I'm older than Marvin. Right? And I had to say to Marvin, Marvin,
Boy, tell you.
you're going the wrong way. Come this way. I want to lead him again.
You're going to lead him again.
The same way we were able to solve that many, many years ago. Did you tell me I have somebody on the phone? Or am I hearing things?
There's a caller.
Hello. Welcome to Freedom March.
A pleasant good afternoon, Mr. Monk and spiritual advisor.
Good afternoon. How are you?
All right.
Great.
Glad to hear. I know you're talking about crime at the moment, but I just want to share something positive. I just actually would like for you all to wish a birthday shout out to my aunt Sylvia Pratt.
Sylvia Pratt is your auntie?
Yes, Sylvia Pratt,
Okay.
as well as my friend, Mrs. Jasmine Fraser from Black Village and her brother James Fraser.
Jasmine and James, I knew
From
when
Black-
they born.
From Black Village.
They're twins, right?
Pardon me?
Are they twins?
Yes, sir.
Are they still plump? When they were babies, they were like big, fat babies.
Mr. Monk, how can you call my homezone friends plump? They are fluffy.
Oh, fluffy. I knew when
Yes,
they born,
sir.
I knew their mother. I know their father. I know the grandma. The two grandparents.
Okay.
I know them.
Okay.
I can remember when they born. The pa
Wow.
bring handful of baby.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they still they tell me about you every day. So
This is powerful.
I just want you to just get them. That's actually their birthday was yesterday.
On
so
the
you can send a
16th.
shout out to them.
I'll do a shout out
Okay.
to Jasmine Fraser and your twin, James. Listen, if only I had remember it was your birthday yesterday, I'd have come by your grandma's house. But it isn't too late for me to wish both of you a happy, happy birthday. And this comes from all the people them from
And their
Black Village.
brethren. And their boy Shantez.
And your boy, Shantez Hall. Shantez,
Thank you, Mr.
you're a
Monko.
great man. Take good care.
You too.
My spiritual advisor, I think they were the first twins to born in Black Village.
Okay. All
Man,
right.
it was a celebration. We couldn't believe that Ricky had made twins. And after them twins were born, I've been working on twins for years, but I wasn't blessed
It
with it.
doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way.
No, you can't work on twins.
Okay.
All right.
But I'm not as
You gotta study the genetics of that.
I'm not as educated as you are, my spiritual
You're not
advisor.
being educated. I mean, it's
You
just-
did go to St. Augustine College.
Yeah, but I'm no better than you are, Mr. Monk.
We're not talking about whether or not
but
you're better than
you're
I am.
more
We're talking
intelligent
about
than I- But you're more intelligent than I am.
We're not discussing my intelligence.
We both have our talents.
We're talking
you know?
about biology.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you can't work on twins. It don't work that way.
don't-
You don't kill two birds with one stone when it comes to that.
Really?
Yeah.
My spiritual advisor,
There's some
you
other things
are
involved with
a
making
man
twins.
of the world, and your biology is so correct. When we return, we're going to look at Marvin Dame's sister, Candia. Remember I told you at the beginning of the year, I saw her in the clouds? And I predicted she will be married. Guess what? I figure out who the groom is, and I might tell you when I return. This is Freedom March, Candia Dames. Well, we'll talk about her when I come back.
Do you have something to say to the senator? Call Freedom March at 323-7775. Toll free from anywhere in the Bahamas at 242-300-0045. Freedom March with Rodney Monker, only on ILTV. Freedom March with Rodney Monker.
Welcome back to Freedom March, broadcasting live on ILTV studios here in Nassau, Bahamas. My name is Rodney Monker. Bradley Roll is my spiritual advisor. Bradley, welcome back.
Thank you, Mr. Monker.
On Monday past, I informed listeners that I was taking a radical position to support the Prime Minister, Dr. Hubert Minnis, in the dispute over expunging records of a number of political activists who participated in a march demonstration and tearing down of a fence that blocked beach access. I told you that. I don't know why I decided I would take that position. But as I told you, that I am a man who is moved by the Spirit. Well, that was Monday. And today is what day, my spiritual advisor?
Today is Wednesday, the 17th.
That would be 2 days later.
Yeah.
2 days later. Candia Dames.
The 17th, yeah.
2 days later, Candia Dames, in her national review, launched a vicious attack against the leader of the FNM and the Prime Minister of the Bahamas. And I think she refers to him or to his situation. And I shall quote it. In a funk, government must move beyond the malaise in 2018. And she talks about Dr. Minnis's propensity for blunders. PM sent dangerous signal over court case. I told you on Monday that all of the commentators who were critical of Dr. Minnis were not elected representative of the people. And I identify a former president, Dame Joan Sawyer. I told you about Juan McCartney. I told you about Javago Lang and some other Negroes. Now Candia, who has emerged as the sixth critical person of Dr. Minnis, has stepped forward. And I think that I have to give Minnis support and to point out that nobody voted for Candia. Minnis made a political promise that he is obligated to go through with it. He made a promise. He told the demonstrators, if you are convicted, I'm going to expunge it. I didn't have time because today when I passed the House of Assembly, it appeared to have been in session. And I don't want the honorable members of the Honorable House of Assembly to see me. So I immediately ducked and left. But if it doesn't meet tomorrow, I shall return because I know that there is record where a former member of Parliament had moved either a bill, a motion, or a resolution to deal with the unjust arrest, trial, and conviction of some Negro women in Cat Island. The late Oscar Johnson. I haven't seen that document in years, so I need to go and find it so I can bring it to show you that there is precedent. But I got to find it. And you know how we go wrong here? Sometimes they lose these documents. So, I want to say this. Dr. Minnis is honor bound to live up to his political commitments, which, because it was made in the wider socio-economic context of public denial of access to the beach by persons seeking to earn an honest living, is perfectly legitimate. Minnis must expunge it. In fact, he must be revolutionary and stop the prosecution. Don't tell me, but he can't get the Attorney General to do it. I understand this country. He can. And Carl Bettel has an obligation, knowing that the Prime Minister doesn't think that this matter ought to proceed, to stop it. Tell you one thing, if Alison Maynard was the Attorney General, she doesn't pussyfoot when it comes to noli prosequi. And Carl inherited noli prosequi when the F&M came to power in 1992. So I want Minnis to be given political support because it was his instinctive reaction as a Bahamian to what he knew was intrinsically wrong. That promise came from the bottom of his Bahamian soul, and now that he is in power, he can, he must, and he says he will correct that wrong. Don't listen to Candia, Minnis. Don't listen to Candia. I don't want to say why, but I'll talk to you, Minnis, in court. This is called Candia. Minnis, I'll hold back the court, but we know that Candia is not safe. Minnis and I discuss the fact that she was not safe. So don't listen to her, Minnis. Expunge the record, stop the case. It will do nothing to the judiciary. You were elected by the people. So stop it. So, we know the historical and social context of this matter, of which the advisors and commentators are totally ignorant. It rests first on the age-old English common law that the Crown owns the seabed. That is land constantly or daily, the Crown, because of the tides. Let me read it again. The historical and social context of this matter, of which the advisors and commentators are totally ignorant, first rests on the age-old English common law that the Crown owns the seabed. That is land constantly or daily because of the tides submerged by the sea. And the Crown, in modern political practice and language, means the people of the Bahamas. What does the Crown mean? In modern language, it means the people of the Bahamas. Coupled to this basic principle is the historical fact that in the early days of the Bahamas, there were few roads, if any, linking the various settlements in an island. The main means of travel were by boats and by walking the seashore. I told you this, which, because of its natural openness, flat terrain, and cooler air, was much preferred to any bush road that had to be cut through dense coppice for miles and miles by cutlass, around ponds and over hills, and generally rough terrain. So from the very beginning, the beach, legally defined as the sandy strip of land from the water's edge to the high tide mark, was public property, indeed a natural public highway with unimpeded access for all Bahamians. You can't listen to Candia. Don't forget who Candia is. Candia just born in September of 1976. She's a young woman. She does not have the same aspiration that we have, because on her threat to citizenship, she was not treated fairly. So she's still bitter with us. And there are thousands of people similar to her who are bitter. Some for good reasons, many for bad reasons. So we have to be careful of what she is saying. As Menace made a promise, he was elected. That's what politicians do. If a politician is elected and find that there are laws and or charges in our courts that are wrong, you got political power. You can go to the Honorable House of Assembly and you can pass law. Don't mind these people, Menace. Free those who march over the bridge. And that is what should happen. However, in modern times, and particularly in New Providence, where beachfront property has been almost completely sold out at premium prices for the construction of dwelling mansions, high-end apartments, condominium blocks, and hotels, there has always been the problem of Bahamians accessing the public beach. Perhaps the most notable case of beach access involved the visit in the early 80s, I told you, of then leader of the opposition, Mr. Norman Solomon, to Norman's Key in the Exumas, then owned by notorious drug smuggler, Colombian National Joe Leader. Mr. Solomon related in Parliament that on disembarking from his boat, Colombian guards, armed with assault firearms and killer dogs, told to leave the private island. Whereupon the brave Solomon challenged them to remove him from public property. They backed down but did not back away. Mr. Solomon completed his stroll wherever he wanted to go, below the high tide mark, and returned to Nassau safe and sound when he was good and ready. What an insult to and an assault on not only the leader of Her Majesty's loyal opposition in this country, but also Bahamian sovereignty. When we have no beach access, Bahamian sovereignty is abused, and Menace must stop it. Don't listen to Dame Joan Sawyer. In fact, I say don't give her that job. Don't give her that job. Dame Joan Sawyer done retire. How much pension she thinks she should get? And still job. Dame Joan Sawyer, you too greedy, man. You're getting the Chief Justice salary. You're getting the President of the Court of Appeal salary. You're getting the judge salary. Then Paul Adley had you working in the Attorney General office. You're getting that salary. Come on. Why don't leave this job for younger people? And stop being greedy. Huh? Talking about all this nonsense. Stop being greedy. If ministers give all the old people them, all these good juicy jobs, what you can give to the young people? How ministers can be able to criticize the PLP over the contract with Sir Baltrin Battle? When ministers can bring Joan Sawyer all that pension, all that good juicy pension, my God. So ministers, leave her out of it. And Dame Joan Sawyer, I call upon you not to accept the job. You don't need the job. You're getting your pension. And you're getting your old age pension. All right? So what is important here is that Mr. Solomon related in Parliament. I told you this on Monday. That on disembarking from his boat, what the Colombians did to him. They had Doberman pinchers, guns. And then, of course, we knew that they were hiding tons of cocaine. I'm always suspicious when people tell Bahamians, we don't want you all over here. What are the foreigners doing that we cannot see? And minister has a duty to pass the law and to tell Carl Bettel, either issue a noli prosequi or be gone. Because Carl is turning out to be such a major disappointment. And that's why I began to believe this story, that Carl is a twin. And this may not be the real Carl Bettel. That's what they tell me. So 40 years ago, and it is still happening, the Norman Solomon experience of 40 years ago, is still happening today. And Norman Solomon grandchildren, my grandchildren, and all of our great-grandchildren, if we don't do something about it, they won't be able to go on these beaches. Don't listen to Candia. Who Candia writing for? She's not writing for the masses.
All right, I got some text we got to.
What did the man say?
Something about audio. Anyhow, good afternoon, gentlemen. Cable Bahamas just muted your mic. I am listening, Lucha, but your mic is muted.
Really?
Well,
boy, oh boy, I can put up with all kind of things, eh?
It's coming mute to the TV.
Huh?
Good afternoon, spiritual advisor. As a man of integrity and spiritual principle, I hope you do not share the same view as the Senator in condoning destruction of private property by those who are found wanting, because a promise was made to them by the Prime Minister while in opposition. You heard the text?
I heard the text, but you hold on for a second. Elutra, are you able to hear me? Yeah. Elutra, are you able to hear me? Because I'm receiving reports that Elutra can't hear me and Harbor Island. Y'all can hear me? Grand Bahama, I counting on y'all. Send me a text and let me know if I'm being sabotaged. They used to sabotage me every time I speak good about the PLP. Now it appears that I'm being sabotaged because I'm supporting Minis. Okay? Yeah. Along the path of free and unimpeded access to Bahamian beaches, Dr. Minis is naturally encountering across his path spiderwebs spun by legalists and journalists, commentators and talk show hosts. But these can easily be brushed aside by the stroke of a pen. If they are truly statutory impediments to the fulfillment of Dr. Minis's promise, then Dr. Minis, who's already empowered as the chief legislator in the country with the most comfortable majority, should swiftly move a bill through Parliament for an act to address the full and unabridged issue of denial of beach access once and for all. Such a bill would spark a national and parliamentary debate about the generally chronic and vexing problem of Bahamians having access to every square foot of beach in this country. It is impossible to imagine one elected official voting against an act to provide for unimpeded access and right of way of every Bahamian to every square inch of beach in this archipelago. We need an act of Parliament that would make it illegal for anyone to impede or threaten to impede, with or without guns and dogs, access to any beach anywhere in this country. The act should impose a heavy fine and imprisonment on anyone found guilty of impeding or threatening to impede right of way to any beach in this country. And at the same time, the bill should expunge whatever needs to be expunged. The act should empower the government to acquire, in the public interest, property providing access to any beach where currently right of way does not exist. And there should be a schedule in the act that marks all the beach access routes in New Providence. And appropriate signs should be erected to indicate these routes. Further, the act should provide for the acquisition of rights of way across private property, blocking beach access. And for those who would call this outrageous, please be informed that in at least one Caribbean country, we understand, citizens have free access to beach through the hotel dam. You hear me? We ain't listening to Candia. Don't forget now, Candia's half-breed. Candia just got her citizenship. Hold on.
That's not nice. Don't do
Candia has just gotten her citizenship.
that. Don't attack the young woman in that fashion.
She is displeased. And to a large extent, she has good reason to be displeased. So I watched them.
Take that back. She's a Bahamian.
All right? I didn't question her.
Take it back. She's a Bahamian.
Citizenship. She has citizenship.
Yeah, but why use
the
the term?
beach?
Why use the term?
It's like the street. It is public and access is available to all. Those of us who live near the street and want to prevent people from easily accessing our property simply put up a fence or wall. But one cannot block the road to prevent people from walking past my street, front property. I can't put up no wall or no fence to block people from passing in the government road. I could put up wall and fence to prevent them from coming on my land. And so the beach, we have a right to the beach. And Menace instinctively understand it. Don't mind. I don't like him anymore. But he's right on this one. The beach. We have a right to the beach. And those who don't like it, we should ask them to leave our country. Simple as that. How the heck you could prevent the citizens from having beach access? What this is? Huh? What is this? And Menace is elected to achieve a certain political objective. Even though Candia may think he's a funk, whatever that means. So, that is what we are demanding. So those who live near the beach may close their property, which cannot extend closer to the sea than the high tide mark. But on no account should one impede or threaten to impede access to the beach to those who own beachfront property. It should be made clear to them and Candia that their front is private, but our beach is public. I just want them to know it. Their beachfront property, it should be made clear to all of them. That's private. But the beach is public. It is because this matter is of critical importance to people who depend daily on having unimpeded access to the beach to make a living, to be able to buy rice and tuna, to feed the children them. That I am giving Dr. Menace critical political support on this issue. And I call on Bahamians to voice their support for the elimination of all forms of threats and impedance against Bahamians accessing the beach. And Dr. Menace, I say, don't mind Candia and don't mind Livingston. I am the justice of the peace. I just had to complete this. I started this on Monday. All right? How the heck? Who can you think she is? Huh? Menace Forward March. You have political power, and while you got it, use it in the interest of the people. Because if you don't, I'm still here to case you out. And while you got power, use it for the people. It is the people's time. Can we have some time for the people? I say, Menace, I'm wearing my PLP shirt, but it is time. It's the people's time. Beach access. And to Candia Dims.
The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by Rodney Monker, his guests, callers, and advisors on Freedom March are not necessarily those of the management, ownership, or production unit of ILS, the Verizon Media Group. Freedom March is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without the express written consent of the Verizon Media Group. Freedom March is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2017. All rights are reserved.